Have you ever thought about what beauty is? Not necessarily about what is beautiful. That is at the same time the same question and a very different question. What is beautiful is a question we engage with every day. We ask it when we choose our clothes for the day. We ask it when we look in the mirror in the morning. We ask it when we're doing our hair, whether it means styling your hair or, in my case, shaving it off a couple times a week. We ask it when we buy furniture, houses, cars. We ask it as we engage with the people in our world. We are constantly asking the question, both consciously and subconsciously, is this beautiful? We are constantly answering that question, but seldom are we going deeper and asking the question, why is something beautiful? Or to put it another way, what is beauty? So, what is beauty? There are many places in our lives where the answer to that question is quite frankly inconsequential. Did you buy the green sofa with the fancy frills? Do you like the new model SUV or the 1987 Ford 150 pickup? Sprawling ranch on 5 acres or third room apartment downtown? It is not that these evaluations of beauty don't matter. I believe that they can impact our lives. After all, as an artist and a craftsman, I strive to create items of beauty that will, by their existence, bring joy to people's lives. But I also try to keep things in perspective. My art probably is never going to be a life or death decision in somebody's life. But when it comes to what is beauty when we look in the mirror in the morning, that's a different matter. I recently had a Facebook friend post about her anxiety about her looks. She writes, "I've been feeling horrendous lately about my appearance, and I know it doesn't matter that much, but sometimes I struggle so hard to feel worthy of anything because of it. Self-love is so hard. Someone teach me how not to care about things like that." This all too common struggle really has become a life or death issue for some people. And while it won't become a life or death issue for most of us, it is an issue that can elevate anxiety and rob us of the joy of living. So how would you have answered, my friend? As I read through the comments to her post, they almost all focused on one thing, driving home the message that she was beautiful, one of the most beautiful persons that they knew. My fingers itched to say the same, but I did not. First, there is the issue and the creepiness of a guy old enough to be your father calling you beautiful online. But the bigger reason I did not reiterate her beauty to her is that it only answers the question from my vantage point, or what I think is beautiful. It does not in any sense deal with the bigger issue of what is beauty. It does not answer the question of why I don't feel beautiful and what does it really mean to be beautiful. So what did I do? Well, first I got a little pissed off. I got pissed off because the world and its definition of beauty is on the path of screwing up another young person's view of who and what he or she is. And then I chose to answer her in what can easily be called the longest Facebook post I've ever written. Before I read it, a little background about my friend. She's 25 years old, recently engaged, an artist, and she loves animals. Here's what I wrote. You only have to be physically attractive to one person. And I have a feeling that your fiance would look you in the eye and tell you that you are the most beautiful person in the world. To hell with anyone and everyone else. Our hyper-comparative culture of online social networking has distorted reality. It allows us to all select what the world around us sees, and it hides all the rest. But when you hang out with someone day after day, you see all of them. Dressed up for the night out, and dead to the world after a horrible night's sleep. And each of those is just as beautiful as the other. I've spent over 50 years on this earth. Do you know what is the most valuable characteristic that I believe there is? It is not beauty, but authenticity. Be you. Don't be anybody else. Be the best damn you that there could ever be. But remember this, if we are honest, read into that authentic. if we are honest with ourselves, being me usually involves being pretty average at most things. This is what is called normal. It means being amazing at a few things, and at some things it means that we suck at them. Because quite frankly, we can't all be amazing at everything. It is literally impossible, and that is okay. It will be the most freeing day of your life when you give yourself the permission to not be amazing at everything. Think about what we focus on when we say beauty. The outside. And that is how too many people try to create beauty, by changing the outside. The problem with this is that changing the outside usually only results in the inside being more insecure. Once you set an unsustainable benchmark for beauty on the outside, the inside becomes more insecure because it thinks it has to look that way all the time to be beautiful. The end result is far from authentic. I think that we need to turn this whole thing on its head. I say that to be beautiful on the inside. Be a kind person. Be a loving person. Do the things you were created to do and do those things well. Be okay with being average at most other things. And be okay with not being good at some things. Laugh at those things. We all have them after all. It's just that nobody puts them on Facebook. When you do those things, beauty will radiate from you. This is the one reason I love my wife, Patty, so much. Her true beauty comes from her inner joy, her love, her patience spilling over onto the outside. When that happens, you have a beautiful person. And best of all, you have an authentic person, from the inside out. I recently ran into some advice from a book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. It is a great read, by the way, for aspiring artists, and I say this as an aspiring artist. She shares an older woman telling her this, and I'm paraphrasing here. I spent my 20s and 30s worrying about what others thought about me. I spent my 40s and 50s deciding not to care what others thought about me. Then in my 60s and my 70s, I realized that nobody was thinking about me in the first place. We have a few important people in our lives who actually think about us. They're called family, and they're called friends. The rest are all too busy worrying about their own stuff to be concerned with our stuff. I wish I had learned this when I was 20, but I'm glad I learned it before I'm 70. Oh, and before I go, although I don't know you really all that well, you have always radiated authenticity to me. I say this very honestly. I've seen it in the joy that is in your smile and in your eyes. I've heard it when you're posting about your fiance and when you're posting about your animals in your life. It has been evident in your artwork even back in high school. I'm sorry we live in a world where it is all too common to have the struggle you are having. I hope you can rise above it early in your life and continue to live a life of authentic beauty from the inside out. There it is, my first 700-word Facebook comment, and probably my last. So if you're still with me, you've got to be wondering, what does this have to do with the bowl? Well, everything. The chunk of wood that this bowl came out of was a piece of basswood that had a rotted out center. I did my best to choose the section that was free of defects, but as I got into the carpeting, it was apparent that there was a defect that was going to be difficult to completely remove. It also became apparent that there was some streakiness in the wood. I can be a bit of a perfectionist. No comments from the peanut gallery, please. And my original vision of this bowl did not have any defects, nor did it have any streaks. This left me with some choices to make. I could cling to my original, and quite frankly unrealistic, vision of a perfect bowl. I could keep carving till all the imperfections were carved away. But by doing so, I also would have lost much of the bowl itself. Or I could choose to reframe the question. Instead of evaluating the bowl against the perfect bowl that was in my mind and telling it whether or not it was beautiful, I could instead allow the bowl to be what it is and allow it to tell me how it is beautiful. And it spoke to me clearly. Matter of fact, this is what the bowl said to me. "Hey dude, I know you wield the chisel, but we need to talk. That thing you keep referring to as an imperfection, that's my bar conclusion. Stop calling it an imperfection, because it is not. The fact that you think it's an imperfection is an issue completely within your own head that you may want to get some counseling for. And the streaks? Lay off the streaks. Those streaks are left over from years of carrying nutrients to the leaves that brought shade to the yard that you grew up in. Yeah, remember? I was here before you were born and you knew how to wield that chisel. Thanks for bringing me into existence, but stop trying to make me something that you've conjured up in your own mind. If you wanted reproducible perfection, you should have made an injected molded plastic bowl. On second thought, forget I said that. There are too many things made out of plastic in this world already." And that, my friends, is what the bowl said to me. This is the same kind of reframing talk that we need to have about personal beauty. Our beauty is not what we apply to the outside of ourselves so that we can try and meet some artificial social construct that has been fed steroids through the IV of social networking apps. Beauty is the result of the inner characteristics of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, being mixed together with the uniqueness of every individual and then overflowing into the world around us. This is what true beauty really is. And it is all from the inside out. How do I know this is true? Well, a basswood bowl told me all about it.